قل هذه سبيلي أدعو إلى الله على بصيرة أنا ومن اتبعني وسبحان الله وما أنا من المشركين.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to this new episode of Ask Zad. Before we begin answering and taking your questions, as usual, there's a few minutes as an introduction to today's episode. And the title is, Don't Be a Rambo. Most of us have delusions, think strongly of ourselves. And this is okay in most cases until it jeopardizes other people's safety and their livelihood. A sister called me few moments ago from now, telling me about a relative of hers who died in Kerala, India, due to COVID-19. His wife is also infected and in quarantine in hospital. Their sons are also in quarantine. The whole building is being checked to see whether they're infected or not. People are taking this matter lightly, either because of the conspiracy theories that are surrounding us. So they think that, okay, someone said it's a conspiracy theory so that the economy would fall down and the rich would start to buy cheap. Or because the shares in China would drop, foreign investment would leave, and the Chinese would control it. Do you have any proof for that? No, but I heard someone say something. Heard it from a friend. Subhanallah. You base your livelihood, your safety, and the safety of those you love on hearsay? Don't be a Rambo. Don't think that my immune system is strong. I'll wear the virus down. It will go. It will come a day or two or go. Also, in our beautiful country of Nigeria, a brother called me a couple of days ago, telling me, Sheikh, there is a big problem in Nigeria. The people are unable to understand how serious it is. Though there is a lockdown by the authorities, by the Muslim President Buhari, yet some people insisted on performing Jumu'ah prayer. And he sent me a clip of thousands of Muslims and worshippers facing one another in a very crowded area and thinking that nothing could happen to us. Either this or we are so poor, dying is okay. Akhi, don't be a Rambo. Dying is okay for you. I have no problem. You can go and die. But why infect your mother, your grandmother, the children in the family, the innocent who come and hug you and kiss you, thinking that you are their loved one who cares for them and for their safety? If you don't care about yourself, give some attention to the community, to the society, to the other Muslims. Would you like to be infected? If someone comes to you and say, listen, I have it and I'm going to infect you with it. Are you okay with that? Definitely not. Then how is it okay for you to go and harm others? When the Prophet said, alayhi salam, "La yu'minu ahadukum," he will not believe One of you will not believe until he loves for his brother what he loves for himself. If you love for yourself not to be infected by others, then at least have the honor not to infect others. The authorities told you, pray at home. In Saudi Arabia, the major grand muftis and scholars of Saudi Arabia gave this instruction 2 weeks ago. Yesterday, it was my second week, praying Friday at my home, praying it al-Dhuhr 4 rak'ahs with my family, not Jumu'ah. We've been almost 13 days unable to pray in the masjids, unable to sit until Ishraq and sunrise and pray, unable to do the things we love. Don't you think that this breaks our hearts? Definitely it does, but Islam is not based on whims and desires. Islam is a logical religion. It's not based on impulsive decisions. It's based on consequences of your choices. And what the people are doing in Nigeria, what the people are doing in Pakistan and India, and trying to be a Rambo, is wrong, is sinful, and is selfish. Because they care only about themselves. They don't care about Jannah or Nar. They don't care about heaven and hell. They just want to prove a point. So don't be a fame seeker. Don't be a Rambo. If you don't care about yourself, the least you could do is care for your parents, your grandparents, the elders. Look at the foreign countries, UK, US. Look what's happening in Italy and Spain. Well, Italy is not that dangerous anymore. The US is now #1 in the spread of the disease. The UK, even the top in the government, the top ranks are infected and are in quarantine after being stubborn and saying and claiming that it's okay. 60% of the population gets the virus, but then get immune later on. It's okay if we lose a couple of hundred, couple of thousands of the elders. Who needs them? Don't be a Rambo. And look at them now. So the problem is not in getting this virus, because it can go and it can come. The problem is that all countries of the world are not medically equipped. They do not have enough ventilators. So each hospital has 20 to 30 ventilators because they're expecting to get 5 to 10 sick people a day. But when a pandemic like this takes place and they end up with 1,000 sick people a day, they have to be selective. They have to play, astaghfirullah, the role of the one who decides who lives and who dies. So they have only 30 ventilators and 1,000 are on the waiting list. They select the young and the healthy who have more probability of living, and the rest may die. We can't do anything else. So this is the biggest fear, not of the infection. 80% recover. But the average age of those who die is between 70 and 80 years of age. The elders are affected greatly by this. And some children as well. And some youth as well, but very small percentages. Do not be a Rambo and pray at home. And inshallah, make a lot of dua that Allah Azza wa Jal unveils this calamity from all of us. Ameen. Our first question for today, and as you have noticed, we've changed from the evening between Maghrib and Isha, Mecca time, to 2 o'clock till 3 o'clock p.m. Mecca time because of the curfew. So Aisha says, in Pakistan, Many scholars advise to give adhan in mosques and from rooftops together from 10 p.m. onwards, so that Allah will cure and uplift the coronavirus. They say they will continue this every day until the disease ends. They used a hadith regarding this, which says Allah uplifts punishment from places where the adhan is given. Is this hadith and action correct? Well, first of all, the hadith is not authentic. It is very weak, so it is not permissible to implement it. Second of all, any young student of fiqh, if you ask him, define the adhan for me, he would say adhan is a collection of phrases prescribed by Sharia that is said by the mu'adhin to notify that the time of prayer is due. And this is only given for the 5 daily prayers. So we don't give the adhan for Eid, we don't give the adhan for prayers of rain, and we don't give the adhan for sun eclipse, etc. Only for the 5 daily prayers. Now, if this is the case, how would you justify the action of the people of Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, asking the people to come at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock p.m. when they have prayed Isha and just call the adhan? Those who wake up think it's Fajr, not knowing that this is an innovation they're bringing. So is this, or does this have any basis in Islam? If you go back to the Quran and the Sunnah, you will not find anything related to this in the Quran or in the Sunnah. But if you look in the books of schools of thought, you will find that the Shafi'i school of thought were the most in promoting this. So they say you can give adhan when a newborn is born, and if someone is depressed, and if someone is traveling, you give adhan while he's leaving. At the time of fire, when there are armies about to fight, when there are jinn spreading around, when you lose your direction while traveling, when a person has a seizure, when a person is angry, subhanallah, when they put a deceased corpse in the grave because they give adhan in the ear when he comes, so they give another adhan when he leaves this world. What is this? All of this has no basis to it in Islam at all. The Maliki school of thought said all of this is bid'ah. All of this is innovation. It's not based on the Quran nor on the Sunnah. The only excuse that we can find for them is that Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, said that when you feel that there are lots of devils and demons around you, give adhan. And this is a narration that was made Hasan by Al-Hafidh ibn Hajar. I don't know what other scholars said about it, but being made Hasan doesn't give it full authenticity unless it was authenticated by other imams. But even if it is authentic, this is the opinion of Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, not of the Prophet ﷺ. And some would say that the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, when he said that whenever the mu'adhin is giving the adhan, the devils run away farting because of the adhan. So this might help if someone is in the wilderness and he's afraid of the jinn, that he gives the adhan, though this hadith clearly states that the devil is running away from the call of prayer when done in the masjid, not in normal cases when it's not time for prayer. But even though this is not a strong way of utilizing this evidence. So, in short, what the people are doing in Pakistan, what they are calling people to go on rooftops and call the adhan. This is totally baseless. This has no foundation in Islam, none whatsoever. It is like when the French invaded Egypt. The scholars there said, let's gather in the masjid and read in Sahih al-Bukhari. Because it's a blessing. It's a blessing, but it will not help defend your country. You have to go pick up arms and fight in the cause of Allah. They sat in their masjid, they conquered Egypt, they overtook the whole country. And Bukhari did not help them. So you have to help yourself. Confine yourselves to your homes, try to wash your hands, stay from physical contact, quarantine yourself, and inshallah, this all would weather away with the grace of Allah. Muhsin says, non-believers mostly ask this question: why did your Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam marry Aisha when she was just a child? How do we respond to them? First of all, you do not have to respond to every question that you're asked. If someone asks you an inappropriate question, would you answer him? So if someone asks you about a previous sin, did you ever try champagne? Have you ever gone out with a woman and fornicated? And you say, oh, astaghfirullah, I can't lie. Okay, yes, I did. Or no, I didn't. No, you don't answer such questions. Now, if the person asking this question is someone who's objective, who's fair, who's just, who's interested in learning about Islam, no problem in answering him. If he is someone who's just trying to tarnish the reputation of Islam, trying to cast doubts in your mind, avoid him and do not pay any attention to him. But seriously, Sheikh, come on. Why did the Prophet ﷺ, when he was like 53 years of age, marry a child of 9 years of age? This is unheard of. Wait and don't fall into Satan's trap. Gather information, do your homework, make a research to understand the circumstances. Then you can answer this, inshallah, with clarity and transparency. First of all, the Prophet was 53 years of age when he married Aisha. Was he married before that? Yes, he was married when he was 25 years of age. For a quarter of a century, he married a woman who was 15 years older than him. So he married a woman of 40 when he was 25 and remained married to her until she died when she was 65 years of age. This isn't the track record of a womanizer. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala Muhammad. This is the track record of a decent man. In the prime of his youth, being satisfied and content with an older woman for 25 years, definitely this man is a decent person. Okay, Sheikh, but again, why did he marry this child? After she died, that is Khadija, may Allah be pleased with her, he married a woman his age, Sauda bin Zam'a. She was also 50 plus years of age. Because she was a widowed and she was alone, and he wanted to console her by marrying her. And Aisha, by the way, before the Prophet proposed to her, already Jubayr ibn Mut'am ibn Adi, may Allah be pleased with him, his father proposed to Abu Bakr for his son. So he proposed to Aisha to get married to his son Jubayr. But when Abu Bakr declined, Then the Prophet ﷺ proposed. Why did the Prophet propose, ﷺ? Because Allah ordered him to marry her in a revelation. And he saw her picture twice, brought to him by Jibreel. Why did he marry Aisha? Because she was the daughter of his lifetime friend, his best friend, Abu Bakr. And they wanted to strengthen the bond. So he married her. But again, why at this young age? This is the norm. At the time of the Prophet ﷺ, this is the age that girls got married in. Don't judge their era with the standards we have today. In Kyrgyzstan today, the average age of marriage is from 10 to 13. In Mexico, in some states, the age of marriage is 14, and in some it's 18. Even the idol worshippers, the Jews, the Christians, for 13 centuries, no one had ever spoken about why is he or was he married to such a young girl, because this was normal. Umar ibn al-Khattab, who was like in his 60s, married his friend's daughter, the daughter of Ali, who was a child of 11 or 12 years of age. That was the norm. Abu Bakr, when his daughter Umar himself, his daughter Hafsa, when her husband died, he went to Abu Bakr, who was way older than him himself, telling him or asking him to marry his daughter. So this was the norm. And if you are objective, you will find that the Prophet ﷺ married a young girl, married an old woman, married a widowed, married the daughter of his fierce enemy, Abu Sufyan, married the daughter of a Jew, married different types and arrays of women to collect and combine and join the community and the society. And he married her because of her wit and intelligence and intellect. He knew that she would teach his ummah, which actually happened, the affairs of her religion. So this is in a summary why he married her. May Allah be pleased with her. Sufyan from the UK. Sufyan?
Assalamu alaikum.
Salamullah. Yes, Sufyan.
I have a question regarding talaq.
Yes, sir.
You know, a lot of people are telling me when a husband says talaq 3 times in one.
What is this music coming from your side, or nasheed?
Sorry?
There's music or nasheed.
I'm not sure. It's not.
Okay, Sufyan, what is it about divorce? I think we've lost Sufyan. Maybe you have problems with Faiz from Saudi.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Assalamu wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, if you allow me, I have 2 questions.
Yes, sir.
Just a short question. Yes. Sheikh, my first question is, there is some, sort of a video going on social media. It's relevant to the, more or less, quite, they have made a movie which is relevant to the current scenario of coronavirus going out throughout the world. I want to know that is there, because to my knowledge, I could see that it is referring to something like fortune telling. Is it something that just for the sake of viewing it, what they have portrayed in the movie, is it allowed, or
I don't know
is
what
it totally haram?
Faiz, I don't know what are you talking about. What movie? What is in the movie?
The movie is basically regarding the current situation of there is a virus originated from the same sources, which is being, currently the coronavirus. Yeah.
Okay.
And more or less, sort of you can say 70 to 80% it is resembling that. That movie was released in late 2011.
Okay.
It is mapping with the current situation. Is it something not, just looking at it, is it okay, or Is it not, even not, worth of, looking at it?
Okay, second question.
And the second question is, for example, if we are making a dua from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from this current affair of coronavirus and any other, is it, worth of, if we are making a dua for every Muslim's ummah, can we include the non-Muslims as well in this dua, or is it specifically we have to mention only for the Muslim ummah?
Okay. Any more questions?
Yeah. Jazakallah khair.
Barakallahu feek. So, Brother Faiz from Saudi Arabia asked, okay, so we have Sufyan back from the UK. Sufyan, divorce.
Yes.
Yes.
But questions about talaq.
Okay.
I've been, in an argument, my father told my mother talaq 3 times, and I wanted to know what does that mean according to, because a lot of people was telling me, it's divorce has happened, but it's in one occasion, one sitting, one argument when he was extremely angry.
Any more
So
questions?
I wanted to know.
Any more questions?
No, that's the only question.
Okay, I will answer your question, inshallah, after I answer Brother Faiz. So, Brother Faiz's question was, there is a movie made in 2011, and apparently it speaks about the spread of the coronavirus in the Wuhan province in China, and it's 70 to 80% resembling what's happening at the moment. So, is it permissible to watch this movie? Secondly, is this part of fortune telling? Well, first of all, I don't know about the movie. I haven't seen it. I've heard people write about, or I've seen people write about it, but I don't know about anything about it. What I know is that Hollywood produces thousands of movies a year, and so does Bollywood. And now we have Nollywood from Nigeria. And tomorrow maybe we'll have Japuwood from Japan. I don't know. They keep on producing their trash, and we as Muslims take it and embrace it, unfortunately. Therefore, it would not be hard for any scriptwriter or author to come up with such a story. Remember that Corona is a family of viruses. And there was MERS, there was SARS, there is Ebola, there is so many pandemics and epidemics and diseases. With the biological wars, and their creativity comes up with such stories. Now, adding to that, we know that the Prophet told us, ﷺ, that the jinn eavesdrop and listen to what's going on in the heavens before Allah throws them with meteoroids that burn them. But some of them manage to escape with one lie that he heard. And he gives it to the fortune teller, who mixes it up with 99 lies and presents it to the masses. So the people listen to 100 lies, but when one comes, they said, this is the one that he said. So there is a possibility that all of this is a mixture of creativity, of fortune telling, but as Muslims, we do not watch such trash because it's filled with music, free mixing, haram things, and it has nothing to benefit us with. Muhammad from Somalia. Muhammad?
Yes?
Yes, what can I do for you?
Yeah, Sheikh, I have a question for you.
Yes.
So, what could be to do in Shaban?
Okay, anything else?
No, Sheikh.
Okay, I'll answer you, Muhammad. I think we have a short break. Stay tuned, and inshallah Azza wa Jal, we'll be right back.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I'm going to talk about the book Interactions of the Greatest Leader. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam reminded us through his guidance and example that Islam is complete submission to the will of Allah. For one who submits, a mere declaration or display of belief will not be taken for success, but his or her heart and soul will certainly be put to test. Allah tested the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam severely in order that he sallallahu alaihi wasallam becomes an example for his companions to follow. Similarly, he tests the believer to see whether he lives a righteous life in accordance with the instructions and commands set by Allah, or lives according to what his desires dictate. Whether the faith he displays is firmly rooted in his heart, or is it merely on the surface. He will be tested to see whether he will continue to have faith and love of Allah when in a calamity, as he does when in comfort, whether he will continue to remember and worship him if given bounties and comforts of life, as he does when he lives a modest life. Allah will undoubtedly test him to see if his faith, trust and love of him is unconditional, or is it conditioned upon good health and a comfortable life, free from stress and anxiety. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam showed us through his own example that for a righteous Muslim, this life is a testing ground where he will continue to be tested until he meets Allah. For him, tests will be conducted on earth while he lives, and not after he dies. He knows that as soon as death arrives and he steps into the next world, his tests are over. There, he only receives the result of his tests and enjoys the fruits of the deeds that he committed during a short span of time called life.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and welcome back. Brother Faiz from Saudi Arabia's second question: is it permissible to make dua to Allah to uplift this calamity, this COVID-19 virus and these illnesses away from Muslims and non-Muslims alike? The answer is yes. We are entitled to make dua to non-Muslims who are not enemies of Islam. So if I have a neighbor, if I know someone who is not attacking Islam and the Muslims, which is the vast majority of non-Muslims, I can ask Allah and pray to Allah Azza wa Jal to give them long life, to give them good health, to bless their life, health, wealth. What I'm not permitted to do in my religion is to ask Allah to have mercy upon them, because they are non-Muslims, they're disbelievers. And in Islam we're told that because of their disbelief in Allah, because of their kufr, that we should not ask Allah to forgive them or to have mercy for them or to admit them to paradise. But other than that, in this worldly life, yes, may Allah bless your wealth and health and your offspring and grant you a nice life on earth. There's nothing wrong in that. So yes, you can say, oh Allah, relieve all Muslims and non-Muslims from this COVID-19 and from the tribulations that it brings with it. There's no problem in that, inshallah. Brother Sufyan from the UK says, there is a problem. When it comes to divorce, it's an issue of dispute. And because of its sensitivity, we try our level best not to give a fatwa on TV. Why? See, a person in Pakistan, living in that beautiful land, they have an Islamic Sharia court they have scholars of their own, and they live in the community. They do something, it's legislated in their system that the ruling is so and so. I, living in Saudi Arabia, may beg to differ. Not only that, I may have the correct opinion in Islam according to my beliefs, but I cannot overrule their rulings because they live in their country and they follow a Muslim leader, a Muslim ruler, and they abide by what he says. Therefore, it's difficult for me to give a fatwa where they would implement and go against the fatwa of the land. So, although Sufyan is from the UK, they have a Sharia board there, a Sharia court. Brother Haytham Haddad is, I believe, a member of it. So they can go, pay them £100 and get the ruling, inshallah. Why pay them £100, Sheikh? They have to make a living. These guys are not government officials, public servants. They need to make a living, so you have to give them for the time. So you go there and ask them and they will answer you. Generally speaking, if someone, I don't know where he's from, asking me this question, what is the ruling on a man saying to his wife, you're divorced, you're divorced, you're divorced, 3 times, at the same sitting, at the same time, without having intervals between the divorces for a period of the iddah, where Allah says, Ya ayyuhan nabi, إِذَا طَلَّقْتُمُ النِّسَاءَ فَطَلِّقُوهُنَّ لِعِدَّتِهِنَّ. There is a time frame that you have to follow, not give the 3 in one go. So what's the ruling, Sheikh? And what's the ruling on the divorce of someone who's angry? And what's the ruling on this and that? Well, each needs a separate fatwa. The divorce while you're angry is the norm. Nobody's drinking cappuccino with his wife and says, honey, I love you, you're divorced. No, you divorce your wife when you are angry. But the anger itself is divided into levels. The highest level, which is rage, that blocks your vision, that you cannot see when you divorce. And after you wake up, they say, you divorced your wife. I don't remember that. Yes, and you broke the the tea table, and you smashed the LCD TV, and you did this, and you did. He says, Wallahi, I don't remember anything. Okay, this is a rage that simulates being in the state of intoxication. Divorce doesn't happen here. So when you say he divorced me while he's angry, I cannot advise you. Someone has to sit with him, speaks with him, make sure that his anger was extreme rage and not just normal anger. When a wife says to her husband, you're not a man, divorce me if you're a man. He says, yes, you're divorced. This is not real anger. This is playing chicken. And he won, and you lost. So what about divorce, 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 or you're divorced thrice? The Prophet ﷺ, at his time, and also at the time of Abu Bakr, such divorce was considered to be one only. Now the Hanafi school of thought followed the opinion of Umar, who changed this and implemented it 3, as was said, to reprimand people from playing around with divorce. So if you go to a Hanafi family and her husband had a fight, and I have hundreds of cases like this. The husband had a fight with his wife. In a moment of anger, he said, I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you. Her uncle comes and takes the woman and leaves. And the man says, I reconciled with my wife. He said, no, according to my madhab, she's totally haram for you. You need to have halala, as they call it in Urdu, and she has to get married to another one before she can marry you. And they destroy the marriage because of this imbecile. Again, I'm not giving a fatwa. It depends where you live. You have to go to the Muslim authorities and ask them for a fatwa in this, but I'm just generally enlightening you people to know where the difference of opinion comes from and how to behave. It's not cherry picking. So if you live in Pakistan, you divorce your wife 3 times in one setting, before you reach the court says, listen, let me go to Egypt. Maybe I'll have an easier response. Or let me go to Saudi Arabia and have an easier response. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately. Muhammad from Somalia says, what are the preferred and recommended acts of ibadah, of worship in Shaban? There is nothing special except to fasting. So the Prophet ﷺ did not introduce to us anything special in the month of Shaban, such as night prayers, reciting the Quran, doing extra dhikr, giving charity, nothing. It's like any other month. The only difference is that the Prophet used to fast the majority of it, if not all of it. So the best thing for you to do is to fast. And with the curfew imposed almost worldwide, sitting home doing nothing, this is the best thing you can do, is to fast. You don't have work where you can say, oh, I have to have my 3 or 4 mugs of coffee. You don't have to go out and buy things and shop around because there's a curfew imposed. So you're sitting home almost 24/7. What best to do than to fast? This is the best thing you can do, and this is what was prescribed to us, and Allah knows best. Sumayya says, is it permissible to make an independent sajda after salat, after prayer, to make dua? Sumayya, this, what you're mentioning, is one of the recently invented innovations. It's a bid'ah. Prostrations outside of prayers are only 2. Prostration of recitation of the Quran. When you come to the specific spot in the Quran, you prostrate. And prostration of gratitude, of shukr. And this happens only when something not ordinary happens. So someone gives me my paycheck at the end of the month. This happens every month. There is no prostration of gratitude for this. My wife cooks a good meal. There's no, this doesn't happen a lot, but still, there's no prostration of gratitude. Someone calls and says, your uncle who's in ICU and was facing death, now he's, alhamdulillah, recovering and he is out of the danger. This is something new and deserves that I immediately prostrate, one prostration for expressing my gratitude to Allah. So what people do every Fajr, and I see them in the masjid, after Salat, after their adhkar, before they leave, they prostrate a long prostration, making dua, and then they leave. I usually call them. So they come to me, and they don't know me, but they see the white beard and they respect this elderly asking them to come. So I said, my son, what is this? So he says, duh, it is prostration of shukr. What do you think it is? I said, okay, do you have any report that the Prophet used to do this, or the companions, or the tabi'een, or the tabi'een? And the guy says, no. Do I need any evidence to back it up? I said, yes. Because the Prophet said, whoever, ﷺ, innovates in a religion what's not part of it, it is rejected. And this is not part of it. And I explained to him that the prostrations are 2, either gratitude or recitation. He said, yeah, this is gratitude. And I explained to him, and I give him a full lecture. And then, alhamdulillah, they're convinced and they leave. But they keep on reproducing. People keep on seeing someone doing it and picking it up. Not knowing by this innovation, they also invite others to follow them, and they will have the same sin of these people following them without deducting any of their sins. It's a serious issue. So don't do this. You want to thank Allah? In fard prayer, in sunnah prayer, when you're prostration, make dua from here till sunrise. No problem. You can make dua as much as you want. Nobody tells you, no, this is wrong, because you are in prayer and Allah knows best. Layla says, is it permissible to celebrate Shabi Barat now that 15th of Shaban is coming? Please throw some light on this. It is an innovation, a bid'ah. Sheikh, I'm going to change the channel. Everything you're asked about, it's a bid'ah. Everything we ask you about, it's an innovation. What is this? Don't you have some leniency? Everything is bid'ah. Your iPad is a bid'ah. Wearing glasses is a bid'ah. Okay, I'm going to cool down. I'm not going to get angry with you. My friend, you have to understand that bid'ah is related to religion. So when someone asks me, what's the ruling on birthdays? I wouldn't say it's a bid'ah because I'm not getting closer to Allah. It's not a form of worship. I would say it's haram because it's an imitation of the disbelievers' customs. But wearing a watch, using an iPad, drinking in a coffee mug, wearing glasses, driving a car, flying in an airplane, these are not religious practices of other religions. And it is not something innovated to get closer to Allah Azza wa Jal, and it's not part of their customs. So don't mix apples with oranges. When we come to the issue of celebrating the 15th of Shaban, okay, what is your intention of celebrating? He says, to get closer to Allah. I do salatu at-tasabih, I do a lot of dhikr, I do night prayer, I do this, I do that. Okay, hold your horses. Did the Prophet ever did such a thing? Did the Prophet ever do such a thing? And says, no, we don't have any authentic reports. Had the companions done any similar things? Never. So are you innovating or not? Yeah, but this is a good bid'ah, subhanallah. Something the Prophet did not do, alayhi salam, and the companions, may Allah be pleased with them, did not do. And Allah told us at the time of the Prophet, الْيَوْمَ أَكْمَلْتُ لَكُمْ دِينَكُمْ. Today I've completed your religion and perfected it. So you come and say, yeah, the Prophet didn't do it, but it's a good bid'ah. Give me a break. This is definitely unacceptable, none whatsoever. So celebrating Shabi Barat or Laylatul Mi'raj on the 27th of Rajab, which was a couple of weeks ago, all of these are innovations. Not because I don't want you to celebrate. Who cares, akhi? Celebrate if you wish, whatever you want. I am not going to lose anything from my pocket. But you're asking me about ruling according to the Quran and the Sunnah, and I'm presenting it to you. Do you think that I don't want you to pray? If you say, Sheikh, I'd like to pray 3 hours night prayer, I would say, bid'ah? No, go ahead, pray 4. Pray 5, no problem. If you say, I'd like to recite the Quran like 3 hours a day, be my guest. We encourage people to give lots in charity, to do dhikr, to recite the Quran, to pray voluntary, to fast voluntary days. But when it comes to issues that take you out of the straight path, they will say bid'ah. So know where we're coming from. Put yourselves in our shoes. The size might differ, but understand that we do not want to stop people from doing good. We want them to do the good things according to the Sunnah, not according to their whims and desires and to what Satan is telling them to do. Barakat says, what is the concept of halala marriages in Islam? People say that if a couple is divorced, then the woman can get married to another man with the condition that he would divorce her after a few days so that she can get married to him or to her first husband again. This is a long story, and I'm going to make it as short as possible. A man has the right to divorce his wife 3 divorces. Life differs from one house to the other. And there are problems and there are tribulations. And sometimes we need to divorce, either for the goodness of the husband or the wife, or for both of them. But also we may reconcile. So Islam gives you 3 strikes. Strike 1, you're divorced. Either she goes after her iddah period is over, which is 3 monthly cycles, generally speaking. Now she's free. She can marry someone else or not. After a year or 2, I feel like patching up. I call her or call her father and I propose. He agrees, she agrees. We get married again. Few years later, something happens. I divorce her. Strike 2. Now, if we reconcile, I have only a 3rd divorce left. And if I divorce her for the 3rd time, this is strike 3. Our marriage is over. And she is immediately haram for me to even watch or see. So she immediately leaves home. She goes to her parents' house, and we're total strangers. I tried to patch things up. I call. Can we get married? Said, nope. 3rd strike. So what to do? Allah tells us in the Quran, if this takes place, she is not lawful for me until she marries another man. And then after marrying him, if he divorces her, I can marry her again. This is known as Halala. Halala. From the word halal, to make her permissible for me. The Sunnah brought us the details of this verse in the Quran. So the marriage has to be a real marriage, not with the intention to divorce the second husband in order to go to the first husband. So a real marriage, meaning that she totally forgot about me, I forgot about her. A man comes, proposes, marries her, and it is a must that they consummate the marriage. So intercourse is a must. So they get married, they stay together for a week, a year, 5 years, 10 years, and they live like a man and a wife without any intention of making her halal to come back to me. After some time, they get divorced. Only then I can have a new marriage contract and marry her. So what Barakat is mentioning, that I divorced my wife 3 times, she is totally prohibited for me now. So she brings a man from the neighborhood. Listen, would you like to have fun for 3 days? And we'll pay you like 20,000 rupees. Yeah, why not? So he does this and he goes, marries her, sleeps with her, and after 3 nights or 2 nights or 1 night, I divorce you. Then I marry her after she finishes her iddah. This is an invalid marriage. And the Prophet ﷺ described this new husband as being a borrowed male goat that is used for breeding. So as if this man did not marry her for real, he married her only to make her halal for me. So he's a borrowed goat. And it's an invalid marriage and it's totally prohibited. And Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. This is all the time we have. Until we meet next time, I leave you fi amanillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
قل هذه سبيلي أدعو إلى الله على بصيرة أنا ومن اتبعني وسبحان الله وما أنا من المشركين